I'm Lisa, and I'm the Artistic Director and co-CEO of Stratford East. I'd like to think all roads lead to Stratford East. I have known about this building for decades now. I studied this building and the people in it. I feel like I was raised on it. I moved to London, and one of the first shows I came to see was a play called The Battle of Green Lanes by Kosh Omar. And I was living just off Green Lanes. And it was the first time I had seen a play, and particularly a new play, that spoke so clearly and so urgently to my neighbours and to the people around me and to where I was living and to a particular moment in time. And I fell in love with the theatre from that point on and came to see as many shows as I possibly could. But I was always here as a punter, essentially, as an audience member. And so this is my first time actually getting the opportunity to work here, which is amazing. I think that sense of going, that idea of what is a neighbourhood theatre and what is a world-class neighbourhood theatre, and for me that is somewhere where it is possessed by the neighbourhood, and something that has been so special for me since being announced that I was going to be doing this job is how many people, and I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of people, have got in touch and gone, that's my theatre, that's my local, that's where I started, that's what this means to me, this is why it's special, this is what has to happen, this is what has to change, this is what I think it could be. And so that sense of ownership by individuals and by groups and by the community, and also that sense of however many people went, it's because of this building that I got to do this. And it's either the first that gave them their first job, or it was the first show they ever saw, or because of the people in it, they gave them an opportunity that changed their life in some way. So, I'm obviously a convert to what theatre can be and how it can change people's lives. But the reason I wanted to work here, and the reason I think it's so special, is that its values are embedded, so it's in the DNA of the building, like that sense of this is a space for everybody, that we come here, we meet our best selves, we have really difficult conversations about who we are and what we could be, and it feels like home. And the reason I want to work in theatre, and the reason I kind of went into directing and I suppose theatre leadership, is to go, how do you create a home? How do you build this theatrical home that people can come to and be a part of? You're going to have a good time. I think there's a sense of theatre feeling quite earnest or worthy or academic sometimes, or that you're coming because like it's medicine. I mean, I think it's the best kind of medicine because it just makes you feel good, but it shouldn't be something you do because you have to. You're doing it, or you're participating, you're getting involved here because you're just going to have a great time. Like, it doesn't have to be worthy. I think you can learn a lot. I think you can experience loads. I think you can come out a better person because you've understood, theatre is empathy in some respects. But actually, this building doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not uppity in any way. It's not pretentious. It's not and isn't and shouldn't be intimidating. I think there's so many. I spent a huge amount of my time and came up myself through youth theatre, and there were certain spaces that I felt that I wasn't welcome and wasn't allowed, and I wasn't from a theatre background, and I wasn't from a certain class that was going to the theatre all the time, and so it felt. There were spaces that felt that you belonged and you come on in, and there were spaces that, even in their architecture, that were going, you're not well, your sort aren't welcome here. And this, I've never known a building like this to be going, everybody, you, no matter what, come on in. Ned Bennett's production of Equus, and it was partly that it was the beginning of a new tenure. Obviously, Nadia had come in then. It was such an exciting and continued to be an incredibly bold season of work. This idea of classic text anew, which I think everyone sort of says they're going to do that, and we're going to see it in a new way. And that production in particular, it's when something is almost imprinted on your memory, like it's that partly because the lighting was so, but it's there, it's almost viscerally there. It was a huge one for me. I think the pantomimes just over the years, and just seeing just this audience and what it does and how it reacts to it feels thrilling. And then there was a moment last year, 2 years ago, isn't it, Tambo and Bones, and obviously it's coming back. I had the privilege of reading that play, of chatting to Matthew and the creatives about it, and then seeing it and seeing that audience and being a part of that audience. And there were so many kind of gasp-inducing moments where you're going, they can't do that. And I think we have lost quite a lot in theatre, which we had much more kind of probably back in the 80s, where people were really pushing the boundaries of what you were allowed or not allowed to put on stage. And that, I think we're in quite a fearful moment as a society. And the whole point of theatre for me is to feel the fear and do it anyway. And Tambo was a show that was doing that for me. Another 140 years, please. Thank you very much. There's something quite relaxing when you are part of something that has been going for, I mean, obviously there's a weight of history and, you know, what would Joan do is a continuous question. But when you are part of something bigger than yourselves, it is not about, it shouldn't and couldn't be about you and your tenure. It is about, can you leave it in a better shape than how you found it? And it's about what is happening in this moment for this community, for this building, for this sector, for this ecology. And how do you meet the moment where it's at, as opposed to, you know, like scoop up the history, carry it with you, celebrate it, revere it when it's necessary, but at the same time be as forward thinking as possible and going, you know, theatre has been essential and this building has been essential for 140 years. So what do we do to make it essential for the next 140 years? And what do we do to make it affordable? And what do we do to make it inviting and inclusion and be as inclusive as possible? I sort of embrace that and I just go, okay, what's coming next? Who can we take along for the ride? How do we open up the doors so everyone can come on in and have an opinion about it and go, right, we should be doing this. We've thought about doing this. I want to do this. And that we become a building as much as possible, which it always has been, which is going, yes, and what's coming next? And that the energy, and that's the job really, it feels like for all of us, is the energy is to harness all the energy that comes at us because it's such a mecca and such a special space for so many people, and becomes this hub that people want to be a part of, are very proud of, and want to carry forward. And that ultimately what you're doing is either whether it's through participation, whether it's through a great night out in the bar, whether it's through the delicious food that you get to eat, or it's that you come in and you see a show, which means when someone sits down and has a conversation with you 20 years later, it's the first thing that pops in your head and you go, that did something for me. And recognising that every show, there's an audience for every show, but that for different people that will be different things, and that's to be celebrated, and our job is to find that show for everybody.